Shabbat Shalom. This past week in Argentina, when the children of an ex-Nazi sought to sell their father's home, they posted a listing online which displayed his residence in the most appealing light. Included were the expected artful shots of the living spaces: a patio, a library, comfortable and welcoming rooms. A casual observer might not have noticed the tasteful art on the wall, which included a painting that had been missing for some 80 years, ever since it had been confiscated during the Holocaust from an art dealer in Amsterdam. 8 decades later, prominently displayed, its whereabouts are no longer unknown. The struggle over ownership, what is lost or taken, and their return, is as old as humankind and featured in our Torah portion, Ki Teitzei. Now, most of us lose things from time to time. About a half an hour ago, I couldn't find my keys. The most readily misplaced items, as you know, are keys, phones, wallets, glasses, items essential to our daily life and functioning. And happily, technology has responded. Cell phones now have Find My Phone as a feature, and key rings often come equipped with some electronic tile, and glasses are classically right on top of our heads. Wallets and their contents, I have no update for you there. And since there's a website for almost everything, you won't be surprised to learn that there is also a virtual lost and found. But do not count on it. If you are thinking of using it to find your misplaced tote bag with your students' graded exams that you think you might have left on the subway. For one thing, a recent survey notes that only 1 out of 20 things left on the subway are actually reunited with their owner. And the other, this website called Ibud, the Hebrew word meaning lost, is naturally based in Israel. And I say naturally because it follows the Talmudic principle which details the responsibility incumbent on someone who finds a lost item or animal, no matter the circumstances it instructs. Whatever is found must be returned, or at least a reasonable attempt must be made. Like a national bulletin board, the finder would enter pertinent information into the database: a brief description of the object, the date and place found, as well as the contact info, and then they have to hope that the loser, and loser is not pejorative here, would be wise enough to look for it through this very database. And under the best circumstances, well, there will be a match. And just so you know, this modern version is modeled after an earlier one in the days when the temple stood in Jerusalem. There was another special site, actually a physical place, called Even HaTo'en, the Stone of Losses. As the poet Tet Carmi described it, whoever found an object went there, and whoever lost one did the same. The finder stood and would proclaim, and the other called out identifying marks in order to receive it back. I love that poetic image of people coming together and their resulting happy reunions. And if we were to trace that back a little further, we come to our Parsha Ki-Tetzei, which of the 72 different commandments encompassed in this one Parsha alone, this is the one that gave birth to that website more than 2,000 years later. It reads, if you see your fellow's ox or maybe sheep gone astray, do not ignore it. You have to take it back to your fellow. And if your fellow does not live near you or you don't know who he is, well, take it home, and it shall remain with you until that fellow claims it, and then you'll give it back. You shall do the very same with his ass, with his garment, so too with anything that your fellow loses and you find. You must not remain indifferent. So listen to that last stipulation again. Lo tukal lahit lahem, you shall not remain indifferent, which in this context ties an emotion to an obligation. The text might have read more simply, safeguard the item until it can be returned, but that would not have conveyed the same weight of responsibility. Restitution is not simply a transaction, but an ethical imperative. Not to remain indifferent means that when we see something, we're not permitted to look away, literally to hide ourselves, to pass without paying attention. This applies not only to property, but it starts there. It applies to our values as well, because tradition makes it explicit that indifference is a slippery slope. Nestled in the discussions and directives of Baba Metzia about losses and responsibility, the Talmud raises a companion question about another emotion which accompanies loss, and that is hope. Hope is often hard to muster when loss triggers that sinking feeling and panic takes over. Wasn't it just here a minute ago? And yet hope also keeps optimism alive. And when you've lost something, it strengthens that bond of association with whatever is now absent. What has been lost still endures in one's heart. And it is that sensitivity to the importance of hope which shapes the Talmud's lesson, which teaches if one still has hope of finding their lost property or animal, then the one who lost it is still regarded as its owner. So a lost pup, for example, even if it has been found and taken into another's home, can still be regarded as an absent member of your own family. A parent's ring, whether it lies lost, nestled in the playground's lawn, or it sits on the hand of the finder, still belongs to the one who lost it. These connections are not diminished by distance or circumstance or even the passage of time, because our portion Ki-Tetzei recognizes that for almost everyone who has lost something, the hope of finding it remains. In fact, this is the work of our sacred season, Elul, to search, to find, to restore, as we prepare for the blessings of the new year, we can neither remain indifferent nor lose hope. Shabbat Shalom.